Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Musology Rockstar Spotlight. Today, I'm so excited to talk with someone whose story is going to resonate with so many of you. This is Sonia St. John, an amazing mom and one of my favorite people in the world, and an exceptional mom ambassador. Sonia, thank you for joining me.
I'm happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So, Sonia, I want to start by going back a little bit to before
Mhm.
you found musology. So many parents I talk to describe the homework battles, especially around that. Can you tell us a little bit about that struggle and what it was like for you and your son, and for you as a mom trying to help him?
Okay. All right. Well, my son has was diagnosed with ADHD when he was um around 8 years old. So as it relates to doing a homework and getting homework assignments completed, we already had the challenge of his attention being off focus. So we went into homework knowing that. But what I found that was just it was so exhausting and so frustrating is that my son would spend, 20 minutes in the bathroom. So first of all, let me roll it back.
Yeah.
So he loves to play video games. So he could spend 3 hours in playing the video games, like all in. And then I say it's time for homework. And as soon as I say it's time for homework, it's three bathroom breaks. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then it's 20 minutes each, and then it's 15 minutes to sharpen the pencil, and he can't find the pencil. Okay. And then we have, after that, we get 2 minutes of homework. And I'm thinking, what is going on? It was just mentally exhausting. And that was every single day.
Oh, Lord.
It
That
was a
sounds
battle.
incredibly tough. And
Yeah.
I know for a fact that so many parents are in that same spot right now. S- How did you first come across Weezology? And honestly, what was your first reaction? Were you skeptical that music videos could solve this problem?
Okay. Great question. So, how did I come across musology? Well, I am a natural born investigator, right? So I dig deep. What does that look like? If I'm looking for tools and resources for my son that's going to help his life be better, I'm going to do a Google search and I'm not going to stop on the first or second page. I'm going to go 10 pages deep. It's just what it is, right? So I was looking up math programs that would help. My son came across musology, and to me, it was a click because Caleb and I, we both rock with music. You put music, we dance. That's a given. So was I skeptical? Not in the least. Was I excited? Absolutely. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I was 100 when I saw the music in the videos. And when my son was, he's 15 now. So when he was around 8 years old, I would go to YouTube and I would look for videos with math and music like, long before I knew you guys existed, like, true story. And we would play videos, and if the music was off, we're like, "Mm, that is not dope. We're not doing that." So we will look for videos that had great beats, great, rhyme. It was normally with the multiplications, and so there was a clear difference. There were good videos and there were trash videos. And when we came across yours, we're like, "This is the top video." And the fact that you did it with more than just multiplication, but you created a curriculum that will go from multiplication to pre-algebra, I was impressed. You knocked my socks off. What can I say?
Thank you so much. I love that. Now, you have a really powerful story about your son, and I would love to share that with the viewers. Can you describe the moment that you realized musology was actually working and the turning point when you knew things were going to be different for him?
Okay. Yes. Do you want me to share one story or two? Because I have two.
Share both, please.
Okay. So the first story is when we were first introduced to musology. My son was homeschooled. for the last 6 years. And so after homeschool, we would actually drive him to something that's called a teen center, and he would hang out with other kids, socializing. So the STEM instructor noticed that Caleb was really struggling with his timetables, but not just him, his entire kind of class. And so the teacher started practicing multiplication and asked me to work with Caleb on that. That's when I looked through Musology. That's when I found the timetable. So we started practicing the timetables with Musology for about 4 days. After the fourth day, he was taking the test. He was mastering them silver, gold, platinum, 100, mastery on everything. So here's the real kicker when I knew that it was working. He went back to his STEM instructor because they would go over the timetables every day. And Caleb was knocking the timetables out of the park. He went from struggling and being the kid on the bottom who knew the least to the A student to the top student
Nice.
in his STEM class with multiplication because it was summertime. So they were a little bit rusty. And the instructor asked me, "What's going on and what are you using?" So I shared with him about Musology, and I actually gifted the teen center, the community center, a program of Musology so that they will be able to use it with other students.
That's incredible. And I'm not surprised because I know you a little bit now. We've had some really good interactions. And that just tells me so much about your character. And I'm glad that everybody gets to hear that. That's wonderful.
Hey, you're welcome. Okay, then the second one. Um, so just recently we transitioned our son from homeschool back into public school. So the last time that he was in public school was in third grade, and now he's in ninth grade. So that's a huge transition. That's a huge period there. So was I a little bit shaky and skeptical? Of course. I tried my best as a homeschool, but I didn't know how that really translated back into school because everything hinged upon these assessment tests. Okay. So we scheduled the assessment test for him to go back into school, where he would test, where he would fall. And he also had an IEP. So there was a lot of evaluations that were going on. So the day before the test, the weekend before the test, as a matter of fact, I decided to use Musology. And I thought, well, we'll just do some math problems. And so I think we spent maybe about an hour doing problems, but we always do them together. So my son is very competitive. So we'll both watch the video. And then when it's answer time, he gives his answers, I give my answers, we compare. And that's how we kind of make it fun. So we went through that. And the very next day, there was the evaluation. And so I knew that my son had a little trepidation going into that. He came out of the assessment class, and the teacher said, "Hey, he did pretty good." She said, "He actually got the farthest of any student in math that I've actually worked with." And I'm thinking, wow, that's great.
That's
And that
awesome.
was impressive. So when Caleb and I were sitting in the car, he said, I asked, "How do you feel? How did you do?" He said, "I think I did pretty good." He says, "Mom, did you know that the questions that were on my math test or assessment," he says, 80% of those I got from Musology. Like if I hadn't gone over those questions with Musology, I would have been lost. And how did we know that just picking that particular class or set of instruction would be so instrumental, so pivotal to his confidence and him doing well? Like I will be a forever raving fan of Musology.
That was such a powerful story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
This is just incredible. This is the why behind everything we do here. So, after that moment, what has the long term change been like for your son? How has his confidence changed? How are his grades? And what is his attitude towards math in general like today?
Okay. So his confidence is through the roof. I would definitely say my son is crushing it with confidence. He's also crushing it with math. And when he started school for the first time in ninth grade, it's pre-algebra. And so this teacher decided that she was going to give multiplication first, kind of as a foundation. Because if you cannot do multiplication, you definitely cannot do integers or any other um, parts of math. So the pre-algebra teacher started with the multiplication and Caleb rocked it. So here he is going into this new environment, but he is confident that he has his math, a good math foundation. All right. And so that was huge. So out of all the challenges that we've had with transitioning from homeschool to high school, the thing that we can count on is that he has the confidence with his math and who he is. And that's through musology.
Thank That makes me so happy to hear that. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. This is what we want. We want to boost grades and we want to build confidence. That's our mission. I love this, Sonia. This is why we wanted to create the FAB program to share stories like yours. My last question is for that parent who is watching this right now, who is in the middle of that homework battle tonight. What is your message to them?
So for the mom or parent that's in the middle of the homework battles and is exhausted and you've tried everything and you've tried tutoring and that's not working for you, and you've tried worksheets and the worksheets are not working for you, I would highly recommend that you choose musology. And the reason is because learning should be fun. Every child can learn math when learning is fun, bottom line. And this is what it is. And so it is based on neuroscience in the brain. So if my son, who I was told did not have the ability to sit down for 30 minutes at a time, if he can stand up and rock and sing and groove and put the beats to musology and still get A's on his test, I'm saying hands down, this is the program that you want to introduce to your son or daughter.
I agree wholeheartedly. I believe music based learning is a wonderful thing, and it's worked for my daughter as well, like I shared with you before. So I completely understand and agree with that. Thank you. Sonia, thank you so much for being so open and sharing your family's journey. You're a true rock star ambassador, and we are
Mhm.
so lucky to have you in the Musology family.
Thanks. Happy to be here.